What would it mean to you guys to stop it coming home tomorrow night?
Has it ever been home?
Yep, that's a good one.
I don't know. Have you ever won it?
Hi, I'm Shaka Hislop, and you're here at Extra Time TV.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we continue with the Euros. We're down to the final for England, the Three Lions. It's coming home. Everybody's singing about it. Take on the fairytale team of the tournament, Denmark. We all know about the story with Eriksen and how Denmark has risen to the occasion. Is this the end of the road for the Three Lions, or is this the end of the fairy tale for Denmark? James, what are your thoughts?
Well, this is a massive game. I mean, obviously, I'm going to take out the Scottish side of me for a second because obviously, I mean, and it's not that I don't want England to win. I just think that little rivalry there, you know. But England have had a great tournament. They've not conceded a goal. You know, they've been so solid in the tournament. It's going to be a very, very tough game for Denmark. But as you said, this Danish side have came through so much adversity. They're playing some excellent football. I mean, the way they attack going forward, you know, they have so much. So it's going to be an epic game. I just hope that because of the two styles, because of the way that obviously it being a semi-final, that both teams don't kind of, I don't want to say sit back, because we saw it obviously when Germany played England. Obviously, Southgate tailored his tactics to, you know, I mean, to be able to cope, but then to go on and finish off Germany. And I hope that's not how this game goes. But at the end of the day, goals win games. Results, as a coach, you have to, you know, get the victory. So he may do it, but I just hope both teams come out and give us an absolutely fantastic game.
Yes, and you know, Southgate has been highly criticized by his own fans, even all the way back in 2018. People were not happy with their style of play. However, it got them to a semi-final at the World Cup, and it's gotten them this far. And, you know, there's a lot of irony there because it's a very, you know, defensive style of football, which usually English and EPL fans shun. And that's what they don't like about, you know, it's a wrong stereotype about Italian football, but it has been effective. While it hasn't been fantastic and easy on the eyes, it has been effective. And I think Southgate has tapped into something where I think he's training the players not to buy into that hype, which has, I think, hurt England for many, 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 many years. I think they always spoke about being champions. If you listen to the media speak, it's like they're already champions before tournament starts. And usually it always comes undone. I think they're going about it in a very understated way, at least the players, not the media. And it's quite an interesting approach. I like, you know, the tactic that Southgate is using. It has been used by other coaches before. And, you know, he has the players to suit his characteristics, like Trippier and those guys. And then you have very pacey, wide players. And, of course, Harry Kane up front, if need be, you know, does the job. Because it's interesting, a lot of people are calling for his head, meaning Harry Kane at the beginning of the tournament, and now they're singing their praises. That's how quickly your fortune can change. So, you know, and then Denmark, well, let's stick with England. Do you think there's going to be any change to Southgate's tactics, or it's going to be what we've seen before?
I think, as I said, just to echo what you said, I think you've got to give Southgate a lot of credit because, and I think he's a coach that, I mean, I had a long think about this. I mean, he's been in the England job for a good bit of time now. I think he's now maturing as a coach and he's becoming very tactically aware, and I think he has been. And even the way England have played, like you said, in certain games with Trippier, and then he would go, you know, a little bit more attacking. I think a lot of that plays into it. I mean, I think, in my opinion, Phillips and Rice in the last game were a little, not the game against Ukraine, but the previous one were a little ineffective. And then this game, they can step up a little bit. Obviously, the introduction of Sancho, you know, came in, and Mount came back into the team. But again, Southgate has so much, I mean, he's spoiled for choice, really. And I think one of the hardest things he had as a coach was picking, you know, his 11, because, as I say, on the bench, there's so much quality, you know? So I think we're not going to see too much changes. I would have liked to see Grealish get more time in the tournament. You know, I think he's a big player for them. But again, he's probably going to look at the Danish team and say, well, you know, where do they have to win? Well, I think they have to obviously put pressure on that back line for Denmark, who's been very good, you know, with the skipper Carr and Christensen and Vestergaard have been very strong with Schmeichel behind them. But I think the pockets in on the right and left of them are where Southgate is going to have to exploit this time. And I think it's something that England have. You have the pace, for example, in Sterling and Sancho, or whether obviously he brings in somebody else. And I think that's where probably he will focus on to hurt Denmark. And then again, defensively, as we mentioned, England have not conceded a goal. So obviously, I mean, we know Denmark play a front three, but I think they'll be quietly confident that he can kind of try and keep them out. But I mean, obviously, young Dolberg has came in and lit up the show. I think Braithwaite has been strong in Damsgaard, but again, Denmark keep changing it as well. They have Poulsen there as well, so they have options. But I think England will build on what's got them here, that strong back line with Pickford behind them, who again, I've been highly critical in the past of Pickford, but he's not put a foot wrong really in the tournament. And I think, as I say, those wide players will be key for England. And Harry Kane's now coming into, his own scoring with the last game. So it's going to be a great game. As I say, it's going to be a tactical game of chess for both coaches because, as I say, I think Kasper Humland, the coach from Denmark, has been excellent too. So it'll be interesting to see how they both play it. And I think they'll keep their cards close to their chest up until kick-off probably, but it will be a very interesting game.
Yeah, so what do you think Denmark really needs to do? Because a lot of people are saying, and we know that in football, things can go really crazy during a game. A lot of people are already counting England in the final, that they're already there. What does Denmark need to do to really continue this run they're going on? Because obviously, as all the points you highlighted there with Southgate, can Denmark do it?
Yes, they can. I mean, I think they have this resilience there and this unity, and I think they have to tap into that. I mean, I think the fact that England have not conceded a goal will not worry Denmark because they have so much quality, going forward too. I think one of the things Denmark's been very, very successful with is they've had a lot of set plays and they're very good at it. I think Striger, on the right, can whip in an absolute fantastic ball, and I think they've been very good at attacking the ball. As I say, they have a lot of big, solid characters there, in the air and mentally, I think Delaney and Højbjerg has been great. But I think what they're probably going to do is I think they'll probably sacrifice maybe Damsgaard and bring back in Poulsen because I think Poulsen, when he's running at defenders, causes a lot of problems. So I think they will probably go with Poulsen, Dolberg and Braithwaite. And you get that, there's a little difference here. Braithwaite kind of is that player that will put in the tackles, he will press, he will try and hold up the ball. And Dolberg is so quick, he can finish. And then, as I say, Poulsen will run at the back line. And they will think that they can get some kind of breaks, the win transition several times. Because we know, let's be honest, English defensively, although they've been solid, they tend to sometimes switch off and they'll be hoping for those little instances through the game. And I think as long as Denmark, play their game and keep their concentration, because again, I saw some instances in the game that, stray passes. So they just need to concentrate. But I think they will be quietly confident. I don't think they'll be going into the game saying, we have no chance. They do have a big chance. And I think the 12th man, as I say, may not be there in the sense that the crowd, but they've got that 12th man sitting outside watching, who obviously had that terrible moment. He's now getting better. And I mean, will he be there or will he be watching? But he will be shouting on his team too. So it'll be an interesting game.
Yes. And, maybe the Denmark team could probably take some positives from the Germany-England game because, as you rightfully pointed out, they do have lapses in concentration. And by they, I mean the English defense, where we've seen if Muller took those chances or took that chance, that game could have been 1-1 and ended very differently. And then the game would have become a very cagey affair. Of course, that's in the past. And we could always say what if. But what it did identify is that, Germany clearly realized that England is very deadly on the counter-attack with those pacey players. They're not afraid to absorb pressure, which it sounds like I'm speaking about Italy, to absorb pressure. And then they have the players to hurt you on the break. And if Denmark could find a way to take away England's ability to attack on the break, that will be, I think, the key component for really them controlling the game to how they want. And then here's the question you ask yourself, James. Do you keep the ball and knock it around and be cagey and then eventually end up like Germany? Or do you take it to England and just get sucker punched on the counter-attack? So I guess we'll have to see. This is going to be an amazing clash of tactical ideas because we know what Southgate is going to come with. He's already kind of really starting to mold this team in his image. Whether people like it or not, is getting results. So I'm very fascinated to see how Denmark is going to manage this game, especially in the beginning, because then you could be too cagey, concede a goal, and then all of a sudden the plan goes out the window. But what do you think about that?
I think you're right. I mean, I think the one thing that England have to be very careful of is complacency, though, because you could quite easily, as an English player or even the coach, be thinking about that final with probably Italy, if they get there. and be saying, well, we have enough to, I mean, I don't think they will, but there's that slight, because of that lack of concentration sometimes, and that's where obviously some of these chances like that Germany got come in, the players could be thinking about that, and then I don't want to say not giving Denmark the credit, but just being a little bit lacklustre. And we did see it, for example, people talked about it when England and Scotland played, England, people felt could have went on and killed off Scotland. They did not. They just, huffed and puffed. They didn't do enough. I hope England, I mean, from an England perspective, they go and do what they have to do. But I think one thing, I mean, tactically, you're probably going to see Højbjerg sitting a little more in front of the back line for Denmark, because as you said, that back three will probably be under quite a bit of pressure, obviously, from England. And you're going to see probably Mile and Stringer sitting back a little more to cover, obviously, those channels, which means, obviously, Delaney's going to have to, obviously, get box to box to obviously help whoever's up top, whether it's Braithwaite, Dolberg and Damsgaard or Poulsen. So I think there's two midfielders in the centre there, Delaney and Højbjerg, may have to change a little bit, their way they play. They tend to get up and both be box to box. I think Højbjerg's probably going to have to play a little bit deeper, to counteract the pace that England have. But again, that's where the tactical, masterclass of both coaches is going to come in. And as you said, I'm very excited. I mean, I'm seeing on the screen behind you, it says 1-0. I don't know.
The PS5 speaks. Will it be correct? In a lot of cases, it's been wrong so far, but we'll see. In fact, we'll probably do a little, if it's possible, a live broadcast of a FIFA sim to see what the game thinks. So, obviously, as with the usual practice we do, key players of both teams. Who do you think is going to be the key player for England and Denmark?
Well, for England, I think the key player, I think Pickford's been big for England. As I say, I think he is a key man. He's had some very good saves that kept, obviously, the clean sheets. I think Shaw's actually been very good, surprisingly, for England. I mean, we know Mourinho doesn't like him, for example, but he has. And Sterling has been sensational for me in the tournament. I think he really stepped up. And I think he came, I don't want to say out of the shadow, because Kane, everybody expected so much from Harry Kane. And Sterling's probably been the one that stepped up. Obviously Kane got the goals in the last game too, but Sterling to me has just really stepped up. I mean, so I think those are the ones from England. I mean, from Denmark, probably, I think Kasper Dolberg again, because he's now broke on the scene, got some really, really important goals. But I think the skipper, Carr and Christensen and Schmeichel are going to be very much key for them. Because I think, especially with the rivalry, Schmeichel, remember Maguire, they were at Leicester together, and a lot of these players know each other, and Schmeichel knows a lot of the English players inside out. So it's going to be that's why I say it's going to be a chess match, to see who can get that, that little, bragging rights in a sense. And also, as I say, the biggest thing is, it's a place in the final on Sunday. So it's going to be a huge game.
And folks, this is not the first time Denmark has, had a fairy tale story. This is not the first time. They've had another story. You could probably let me know what you think about that, or if you know about it, in fact, in the comment section below. I know James does. I know I do. But I'd love to hear if you guys know about that other fairy tale story that they did back in the 90s. That's my only clue.
I have a great question for the fans. And building on that, what is the resemblance between the two squads? There we go. Or what is the one player that both squads had? Let's see if we can find that one.
Interesting one. We'll do some side-by-side picks as we go along. So, folks, let us know what you think in the comment section below. Do you think the Three Lions are going to bring it home? Because it seems that the fans believe it. Everybody's believing it. The bracket seems to favor them, just like in the 2018 World Cup. But Denmark has that sense of football romanticism about them. So, we'll see if that works. So, James, just to end things off, in terms of the form guide, it doesn't really look that great for Denmark if we're talking about form guide. Let's hear about that before we go.
Well, as I say, we were looking at this before the game. I think, obviously, England have a great form, win, draw, win, but Denmark, obviously, 2 losses and 3 wins in the last 5 games. And even if you look at the head-to-head, England has 13 wins. There's 5 draws between the pair and 5 wins go to Denmark, whereas England scored 39 and Denmark scored 23. So if we're going with the paper, it's going to be I don't want to say a whitewash for England, but it's going to be an England result. But again, the game's not played on paper, and I think if there's one thing we saw from this Danish side is they've grown. They've I don't want to say became lions because that's stealing something from England there.
Yeah.
But they became so strong together. And I think that togetherness will give them that push. And as I say, it's going to be an excellent game. I think this one probably will go down to extra time. And we'll see who's able to take it. But it'll be a great game. And I just hope that the semi-finals are not bigger than the final in a sense.
I know what you mean. I know that feeling. So, final verdict, James. How's it going to go?
My heart says Denmark 2-1, but my head says England may just have a bit too much.
I agree. My brain is also saying the same thing. As a football romantic, I would love Denmark to win, but I think it'll just be too much in the end. And I think it won't be a whitewash, but I think in the end, England will prevail and get to the final, and we'll see where it goes from there. And, possibly face, based according to our predictions, face Italy. So, folks, you can let us know who you think is going to win, not just in this side of the bracket, but the other side. Who's going to get to the finals? Who's going to win this game? Let us know what you think in the comment section below. We're getting down to the final game. James and I will try to do a quick reaction after the game and possibly a watch along. We'll try that. So, like I said, comment in the comment section below. Like, subscribe, check us out on Instagram, Twitter, and share with your friends, because your friends like Extra Time TV and they need to see it. All right. So, James, we have lots of games to look forward to. The Copa America is also going along as well. We'll talk about that as well. It's who's going to be in the final. We'll see. It's down to Brazil, Peru, Argentina, and Colombia. So that's some other stuff for us to talk about at another time. So, James.
Well, I know who I'm rooting for there, but
well, let's hear it, James, before we go.
Well, I think Alfredo Morales has been so sensational for Rangers. It looks as if he's going to leave and go to Porto. He's virtually signed, I think. But the fact he's Colombian, I'll support the underdog there.
Oh my gosh. Well, we all know who I'm supporting, which will be a conversation for another time. We'll definitely do a preview about that. So, folks, once again, it's been a pleasure. The football continues. I'm getting a little tear because it's starting to die down a little bit. But fear not. We still have football in the Caribbean for Trinidad and Tobago. There's a match coming up. We'll be paying attention to that. Will we go to the Gold Cup or no? We shall see. So once again, folks, James, it's been a pleasure. And everybody else, thank you for joining us. Just a reminder, everyone, for more episodes with Shaka Hislop, be sure to head over to our YouTube channel. Also, don't forget to subscribe for more updates, interviews, and content.